Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Becky Nakamura, and I am the owner operator of Waves of Ki Energy Work. I am a Reiki master, shamanic Reiki practitioner, and crystal singing bowl sound therapy practitioner. For those of you who are not familiar with shamanic Reiki, I incorporate the different shamanic tools in with my Reiki practice, such as accessing your Akashic records, using crystals, the native drum, rattle, tuning forks, and the healing feathers. I may also include some shamanic coaching in with the session. I do Reiki sessions in person or online, either through Zoom or Skype, and being somewhere else in the world is not an issue, as I have clients in Norway, Sweden, Colombia, Vancouver, and here in Alberta outside of the Calgary area. The focus of these interviews is to introduce you to the different healing modalities that are available to you. Each person resonates with different practices and different energy workers. My dream is to see everyone becoming more aware, more empowered in their healing and in their health and well being, whether it's through Reiki, numerology, shamanic coaching, Lomi Lomi, breathwork, acupuncture, systemic constellation workshops, sound therapy. The list goes on and on. I just ask you to be open to listening to what is out there and available to you. And if something speaks to you, try it out and see what comes out of it. So my guest today is Becky McKinnon. Becky is an author and international speaker, a life purposes coach, and a master numerologist. Her mission, passion, and purpose is to help people understand how the energy of numbers affects all areas of life and how we can work proactively with that energy for our peace of mind and positive results, especially in our career and relationships. She has prepared numerology profiles for individual clients across North America and in Britain, Ireland, Japan, and the Middle East. As founder of the Born to Thrive numerology course and the Advanced Numerology Mentorship Program, Becky has taught and mentored aspiring numerologists in Canada and Japan since 2008. She has been a repeat guest on radio shows and has been interviewed on CBC, News World, and Ottawa Metro News. Her groundbreaking book, Make Today Count, Take Charge of Your Time and Your Life with Numerology, was released in August of 2017. For her, numerology is a life skill. It is unsurpassed in its ability to connect you with your purpose and guide you in the process of making your dreams come true. So it's my pleasure, my honor to introduce Becky McKinnon. Hi, Becky. Oh dear, we just had her a moment ago. What happened? Hi, Becky. So, Vicky, in what motivated you to? Oh, it is her connection. So, Vicky, I'm wondering if you could go out and come back in again. Let me see if I can get her to go out. I'm going to message her and see if she can come back in again. Okay, here we go. Hi, Vicky. Vicky, hello. Hi, Vicky. Hi, Vicky. We are back on again.
Oh,
So we're
hi. I was
hi.
trying to get some help from my in-house tech support here, but we
That's
don't know
okay.
quite
We
what
we
to
are
do.
connected again. We are
Hi.
connected again. Hi.
Yeah.
So Vicky, Vicky, what is numerology and how and what inspired you about numerology to make it your life's passion?
I am I'm happy hearing you though.
Ah, okay. So let me just type it into the chat box and see if we can bring that up. What is
Oh
numerology?
golly. Well, it was a series of basically what it was a synchronistic event. I met someone.
Oh, she's freezing again. Okay, Vicky. Hi. Um, you need to speak. So I see that Vicky has said that it was a synchronistic meeting with someone who had taken a course that had interest you in numerology and what inspired you. Is that correct, Vicky? Yes. Can you say it out loud? Can you speak it? Because nobody can see what you're typing.
Yes. Yes.
So what is numerology? Vicky? Hello?
Well, first of all, that numbers are centers of energy. They are great cosmic that can lead us to our highest level of fulfillment and integrity and areas of learning and stages. It's an ancient and accurate science.
So do we know how far back numerology goes?
It's not working.
I can hear
No.
you. Vicky, I can hear you. Okay. Vicky's saying that
Oh, can you hear me
she
now?
well, yes, I can. So Vicky is saying that she will go into her office and see if it works better from there. Okay. I will go and text her and say yes.
See the message, please?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. And we'll hope that by her going into her office, that it will work out better.
Okay.
My laptop doesn't seem to be working really well.
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds good. So, Vicky, why don't you tell us about numerology?
Okay.
Okay, is this working now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, I can.
Oh, hallelujah. I'm so sorry for that. Okay. I'm coming to you live from the man cave here. I'm just going to let the man go.
Okay, that works
Oh,
good.
so sorry to you
That's
and your
fine.
listeners
That's
too.
fine. That's fine. So we'll just start from here. So, Vicky, what is we were because I ended up having to go on my phone as well. I
Yeah.
had an issue with my internet going down, so I'm strictly using my data now.
Okay.
Um, so numerology, you were starting to tell us what numerology is and what inspired you to make this your life's passion.
Oh, golly. Yeah. So it was a synchronistic event. I met a lady. Actually, my son was taking a group music class, and I just kind of started talking to one of the other moms that was there every week. And, kindred spirits just seem to gravitate towards each other. And one
Yep.
week, she wanted to know what my birth date was. So I was a bit surprised, but of course, I told her, and she started adding it up. And then she started telling me all this stuff about me that I thought was kind of interesting and kind of cool. And she told me she had just taken a course in numerology, and so I just without hesitating, I signed up for the same course, and it just called to me like nothing I'd ever experienced before. So I think the universe just kind of guided me into that. Maybe it was past life memory coming back. Maybe I'd done it before. I don't know. But I found it so profound. And I was just so amazed that our name and our birth date held so much information about who we are and who we're becoming and who we're meant to be and how we're meant to contribute to this lifetime and how we can be the best version of ourselves. So, yeah. It was very powerful.
So then what you started doing this work back in 2000 or was it in the 90s that you started?
I first developed passion for it back in the 80s. And then I took an early retirement from school teaching, which I'm very thankful I did, especially now. But anyway, I took early retirement from school teaching and thought I was going to do Reiki, like what you're doing. And it just became abundantly clear almost right off the bat that I was meant to follow this path with numerology, and that was the only thing I was meant to do. I wasn't meant to incorporate different modalities into it. So I went with that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so how do you find, like, what numbers do you use, or what information do you use, or what, how should I say it? How do you find out what messages need to be passed on to people?
Oh, it's all in the numbers. The numbers hold so much, such a wealth of not just knowledge, but wisdom and insight. So they're older than language, really. And numerology itself is an ancient science that helps us to understand the energy of numbers and helps us to understand how those numbers are shaping our lives and how we can align our thoughts and our actions and our aspirations, align that, work proactively with the energy of those numbers to bring us to our highest good.
So how do you get these numbers? Or how do we find our numbers?
How do I find all the numbers? Well, in numerology, we work with both your name and your birth date. So the energy of the number is the same, but where we find it in your profile tells us how it's shaping your life and the effect that it's having on you. So I do, I'm going to say probably between 15 and 20 different calculations that I do when I see a client. And so nobody is ever just one number. We all have several different numbers, several different centers of energy. Some of these centers of energy balance and support each other. Some of them intensify, and some of them seem to contradict or conflict with each other. And I always say if there's potential for conflict, there's also the potential for balance there as well. So we work with both your name and your birth date. Your name represents your soul's ongoing journey through many different lifetimes. The qualities that you were meant to bring into this lifetime to refine and perfect and exemplify to others. Your birth date, on the other hand, it represents the experiences that you were meant to have, the experiences and the growth opportunities that you're meant to have throughout your life. So I usually say, if you think of your name as like your vehicle, all the bells and whistles that make up who Becky is in this lifetime, your vehicle, and then your birth date is the road you travel.
So are you saying then that our name, that we pick it before we even come into this lifetime?
Yes, actually, yeah. I'm not sure, Becky, if you have children of your own?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and you know that it's a very deep process, and it's something that parents put a lot of thought into choosing a name. But you know where thoughts and ideas come from. So much of the time they come from spirit.
Yes.
soul that's about to incarnate into this life will connect with the mother and the father and have the name that they're meant to have.
So, and then I'm assuming from that follows also the date of your birth that you choose before you come into this world, that you choose the day you're born.
Yeah. On a soul level, we make these choices because we know what it is that we have to learn, and we know the areas where we need to grow in this lifetime.
So you were telling me that you had a dream a couple of nights ago about Kamala Harris, or that it woke you up and you just felt the urge or the need to work on her numbers and to figure out what her numbers were telling you.
Yes, actually that was last night, and it wasn't a dream. It was just I was having trouble sleeping, and I just had this Kamala Harris kind of popped into my mind, and it's like, do the numbers. And I was just so excited. It just blew me away when I did her numbers. So, and I thought that perhaps if I was to share that with you and your listeners, your viewers, that they would get a sense of some of the things that your name and your birth date can tell you about your life and your character and your experiences and growth opportunities. So I want to start with her. Yeah.
Just one second, Vicki. For those of our listeners who are not aware of who Kamala Harris is, would you like to give a brief description of who she is and why you felt this?
Yeah, exactly. Those of us that follow American politics, and that's quite a few of us now, even in Canada and around the world, and looking for perhaps signs of hope or whatever, will know that Joe Biden has chosen Kamala Harris as his running mate. She is a daughter of two immigrants, an Asian Indian woman who is a cancer researcher, and a Jamaican, her Jamaican dad, so she has both Asian and Black lineage there, and very beautiful lady, and has and a very accomplished lady in her own state in California. So, and it's just going to be really interesting. The buzz right now is that, yes, even though a couple of previous contenders have chosen women as their running mates, the world wasn't ready for them yet, and they weren't ready. They weren't ready for the task. Whereas the feeling is that she is very ready, and her country is ready for her as well.
So what do her numbers say?
Okay, so I started with her cornerstone letter, which is the first letter in her name is your cornerstone letter. So for all of your listeners or viewers who have the letter K in your first name, actually it's one of my favorite letters. We have a triangle on the bottom that represents grounded, practical energy coming up from Mother Earth. We have a triangle on the top that represents deep spiritual understanding and perception. And then we have that huge triangle facing outward, facing to the right, that radiates all that knowledge and insight and wisdom to everyone. So as the 11th letter in the alphabet, it indicates that she's highly perceptive. It brings a high level of idealism. It also brings recognition and influence. So that's pretty cool, hey?
I find that to be that is so beautiful. Yeah. Everything that has to do with her with the letter K, and for those who as well have that letter starting with the first name.
Yeah, all your Kathys and Karens and Kens, whatever, you have that potential yourselves. It's like the numbers are like doors that are open for us. We can choose whether we want to use that energy or not, but really for our own highest good, we're meant to use that energy. Okay, then I looked at her first name individually. Your first name that you use on a day-to-day basis has a very powerful impact on you. It will, it indicates the way you tend to think of yourself and the way others think of you, what you come to expect of yourself, and what others come to expect of you as well. We call it your key. Now, it's not always your first name at birth, because maybe your first name at birth was Thomas and you've been Tom all your life. Then you're using Tom for your first name, for your key. Okay, so your Kamala Harris's first name is a 3, which boosts popularity and attracts support and attracts attention for her and interest. And if it's used wisely, it can bring people on board to support her and support her causes. So it's a nice number and numeric energy for anybody that really needs to connect with people and gain popularity. So that's good for her as well. She has a middle name, which is a master number 22. That tells me that her middle name is Devi, or Devi, maybe Devi. And it tells me that she is so not afraid of work. She is just eager. When that 22 comes around, that's a number where, some people will look at something that needs to be done and, oh, no, that looks too much like work for me. 22, okay, I'm going to roll up my sleeves. What do we do first? What do we do next? Here's the big picture. Let's get on with it. They're eager to take on the job, and she is so eager to take on the job. Not only do they approach work that way, but they want to leave something of lasting value. This is not work with results just for themselves or their immediate family. This is something of lasting value. It also carries an international element to it, so it indicates, diplomacy and all those good things that we need as well. Her last name, with being a 1, that's the name Harris. That's your originality, your innovation, your leadership, all of the above. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We put it all together and we get what's called her destiny. This I consider to be the number that you have when you add up your full name at birth. I consider this to be your key to self-respect. This is the finest way for you to be the highest version of yourself. These are the qualities that you have brought forward, that you're refining and perfecting and sharing with others. And that all adds up to a number 8. Well, the 1, like in her last name, the 11, her 11th day, her 11th letter of the alphabet for her cornerstone letter, the 8, I call those the don't mess with me numbers. So basically, the 8 indicates, well, a lot of people know about the 8 because they say, oh, that's the money number, which it is. It absolutely is a number of prosperity. But it's so much more. It's a very complex number, and it comes with its own set of requirements, but its own set of gifts as well. Definitely money and prosperity. Somewhat like the 22, big picture thinking. She's seeing the big picture here. Legal system and justice, an ability to work within that. And we know that actually was she Attorney General or something, I think, in California, I think. So, yeah. And again, a lot of leadership. We often see people with 8 energy and a destiny or a life path going into, financial planning or banking or big corporations, but we also see them going into politics. We also see them going into the legal system. So those are some areas where they do well. And the 8, again, it's no number is inherently good or inherently bad. It's how you choose to use it. It's energy. Right. It's how we use the energy.
That's correct.
When it's used to its highest good, the 8 is about what's right, not who's right. Okay, very much about making your way in the world and making your way in the world with integrity. Okay. And toughness, but yeah, but not in a mean way, not mean spirited, but just tough and, getting things done and knowing what's right and what to do next kind of thing. Okay. So I take the full name at birth and I break it down into two more very highly impactful numbers. And that is the number of your vowels and the number of your consonants. Okay. So all of the vowels from the full name at birth, they give us what we call the soul urge or the heart's desire. The numerologists will call it a couple of different things. When I'm looking at compatibility for couples, I'll often look at the vowels. I always look at the vowels rather, because the vowels tells us about core values. The vowels are about your core values and your heart's desire and what you will go to the wall for, basically. Okay, you're going to like this, Becky. Her vowels add up to a 27, which is a 9. That is the number of the healer. That is the number of the healer, the idealist, the humanitarian. Kamala Harris knows and understands pain. She is probably highly empathic. She is filled with compassion. She wants to help her country heal. She wants people to thrive and do well. And she's seeking fairness. That's the idealism. Idealists will always look for fairness, right? Humanitarian, very broad-minded and tolerant and that kind of thing, So that number 9, if you take a look at the numeral for the number 9, you've got the circle. All that is divine love, divine compassion, divine wisdom, divine healing, reaching down to your global family, reaching down to your global village.
And as a BP running mate, those are all very, not just admirable, but very necessary qualities, I feel, in being an effective representative and one of the core politicians for a country. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And some very successful politicians and business people have got that 9. I'll tell you the other thing about the 9 is this is the common touch. This is the person who can be comfortable, speaking on the radio, speaking on the internet, comfortable with people from all walks of life, all ages, all socioeconomic groups, and because they have the common touch. We are all one. That's the basic message with number 9. And then I looked at her consonants, and that one just kind of blew me away as well. The consonants are just backtrack to the vowels. I just wanted to say one more thing. I look at the vowels as being your key to peace of mind. It's when you align your day-to-day life with the energy of your vowels, that's your key to peace of mind. And then your consonants, they have a couple of different things that are kind of cool about the consonants. They tell you, somewhat like your first name, what people are seeing, the impression that you're making on the world around you and what you feel comfortable in sharing. But they also give us a sense of how we can best replenish our life force energy. Kamala Harris's consonants add up to a 44, which is a master number that we don't see very often. Edgar Cayce, you may have heard of the great American psychic. He believed that 44 was the number of the master therapist. It's also a number strongly associated with advocacy. And of course, it is essentially an 8. You're liking this.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, and it is essentially an 8. And it's the most balanced 8. Again, it's got the 44 really strongly understands that connection, as above, so below, connection with my life here on the earth plane and my spirituality and my spirit's ongoing my soul's ongoing life. So,
And
yeah.
that as above and so below also shows up in the K.
It shows up in the K, and it shows up in the number 8, in the numeral 8 as well.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. So, and then
Yeah.
I took a quick look at her life path. Her life path is a number 5, which I like because it's my life path as well. Okay. Number 5 people are called to communicate ideas and information. They tend to be gifted with the life path number will tell us how we best share our gifts. Number 5 people tend to be gifted with written and spoken language, and they share ideas and information. They can inspire people with their language, or if they're using that 5 energy at the low end of the scale, you might have somebody who's, the con artist, knocking on doors and depriving elderly people of their life savings and that kind of thing.
Yep.
But we know that, the impression here is that this lady is just going to rock this. One of my favorite presidents was Abraham Lincoln, and he had the 5 life path. I thought that was very cool. He certainly made some very inspirational speeches. Okay, and then just the next thing is she was born on the 20th of October. Another reason I like her, I'm an October birth date as well. Okay, so the 20th, okay, there is a number of diplomacy and teamwork, cooperation, a cooperative spirit, willingness to support others, a desire to support others, and it also brings a level of personal magnetism as well. Okay, so that's a very quick rundown on Kamala Harris's numbers.
So the birth date you said was the what? There's another number that you mentioned. Was it not the personality?
Okay, we talked about the core number, or sorry, the cornerstone number, which is the letter K, the 11th number in the alphabet, or the 11th letter in the alphabet. We talked about her first name being a 3, which is not really a core number. It's a very impactful number, though. When you think of how many times you've heard your name spoken, or you've said it yourself, or written it, or seen it in writing, always reinforces that energy. The middle name, master number 22. So I talked about each of those names individually. And then you add them all up together and you get the core number of her destiny, for the way she can be the highest version of herself, which is the 8. And then we broke that into vowels and consonants, soul urge and persona, as I call it. And those are the key ideas that we get from a person's name. We can also get their karmic lessons from their name as well. And then I took a look at her date, and I just shared a couple of the aspects of her date. There are several more.
But then you mentioned something about a personal year as well.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what I was going to talk about next. So that was a rundown on Kamala Harris, and yeah, whenever I'm doing a talk or a mini workshop or whatever, I'll always say to people, if you only remember one thing from this, I want you to remember this, that all of our lives we live and learn and grow in cycles of 9, that we have 9 personal years, we have 9 personal months and 9 personal days even. And that's actually what I wrote my book about, was personal day, month, and year. But I always love to tell people about their personal year. If there's only one thing I can share with you, maybe our time is limited, I'll ask you when your birthday is, I'll add it up, and I'll get your personal year. Because when you know how numbers work and how you can work with numbers, it can take you from a place of pain to a place of peace. It can take you from a place of uncertainty to a place of empowerment. Knowing your personal year can help you to understand the current circumstances and the influences around you, can help you to tell what you need to focus on in any given year of your life. So all your life, you're somewhere between your 1 and 9 year. Okay, you're either in a 1 year or 2 or whatever. So
Right.
when the way we calculate our personal year, it's a really easy calculation. You add up your month of birth
Yep.
plus your day of birth. Um,
Okay.
can you just give us your month and your day, Becky?
November 9th.
Oh, no. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's pretty intuitive there already. Okay. So 1 plus 1 is 2 plus 9 is 11. Okay. And your last birthday was in 2019. So I'm not adding 2020 into the mix yet. I wouldn't do that until your next birthday comes around. Okay.
Okay. Yep.
So 1 plus 1 plus 9 is 11, plus 2 is 13, plus 1 is 14, plus 9 is 23. So I'm adding in 2019. So you're in a 23-5 personal year, a year of change and a year of getting your message out as well. Okay. So if your listeners just want to add up your day plus your month plus the current calendar year, either 2020, or if you haven't had your birthday yet for 2020, you're going to add 2019 in that. And I have to be honest and fair here. Some numerologists believe that your personal year starts on January 1st and goes to December 31st. My experience has always been that your personal year begins on your birthday. That aligns it with the concept of solar return. Okay.
I like how I like it better, or it feels right for the birthday as opposed to January 1st.
Yeah, it feels more personal, right? And
Yeah.
it is your personal year. So I just want to do a very quick rundown on the personal years.
Okay.
So if you added everything up and you got, say, a 28 or a 10 or a 19 or something like that, then you're obviously in a 1 personal year. This is a time for you to have, to experience new beginnings. This is a time of planting seeds, being innovative and, being independent, being careful about how much you share with others, and being excited about what life holds for you over the coming years and what you can accomplish. Don't expect it to come all at once. Remember, you're planting seeds. If you're in a 2 personal year, if you added up your month and day and year, and it adds up to 20, then you're in a 2 personal year. And that is a year for you now to share with great discretion with trustworthy individuals some of your plans and hopes and dreams, to cultivate those, to nurture those. And you get a sense in a 2 year of whether the universe is energetically behind you or not, because things either start to consolidate and gel, or maybe you have a sense of lack of support for this or that plan kind of thing. It's also a year meant to be a low-key year. So you might be feeling a little bit tired. Be near water in a 2 year. Okay. I just want to add that some people add up their name and date and birthday, and instead of a 20, they maybe get a 29, or their month and day and year rather. Instead of a 20, they might get a 29 or a 38 or an 11. And if that's the case, that's a master number year. That replaces the 2 year. That takes the place of the 2 year. So I'll get to that in a few minutes. If you went into a 3 year on your last birthday, well, you know what? 3 is about getting together with people. 3 is about, this is the number of the inner child. This is the number that calls us to play and create and express ourselves joyfully, to sing our song and speak our truth. And this year is particularly hard for people in a 3 year because, all the constrictions with COVID and everything else. Because if there's anything you want in a 3 year, it's to get out there kind of thing. You may have some really good creative ideas, and maybe some of those seeds that you planted back in your 1 year are just kind of starting to show above the ground now, and maybe some other people are there as well and wanting to get on board with you and support you and support your plans. Barack Obama was in a 3 personal year when he campaigned for his first election. So then if you added up your numbers and you ended up with a 4 personal year, well, guess what? You've got the double whammy, because you've got the 4 personal year and you got the 4 of our global year, our 2020 as well. So this is a year of work. It's like when that 3 year ends and the 4 comes along, it's kind of like, okay, guys, the party's over. It's time to roll up your sleeves now and get some things done. This is a year of work. This is a year of authority, effort and results, and you're just perhaps feeling constricted, but very much about grounded, very much about turning your thoughts to personal issues, personal matters. I call it a base camp year, looking after your base camp. And very, very supportive of anything you do in the way of your physical well-being. So, a diet or a fitness routine or anything like that, maybe quitting smoking, or if you have something that you need to focus on. And very supportive of getting out there in nature. 4 is the number of Mother Earth. Then we have the 5. That is the number that really strongly supports you in connecting with people, with groups. And again, we can't do that so much in person now, but we can certainly do it on the internet. And certainly the 5 really strongly supports our writing. It is the number, we call it the number of the scribe. It's about expressing ourselves. And also the number of change. Maybe a geographic move, maybe a change in your family dynamics. Somebody goes off to university or whatever, or maybe a change in your relationship status, change in your career, that kind of thing, okay? The other thing about 5, freedom, glorious freedom. Freedom, adventure, variety, change, some of the keywords, the buzzwords for number 5. If you added up everything and you ended up with, say, a 24 or maybe a 15, then you're in a 6 personal year. And that 6 year, that brings your focus back to home, family, community, perhaps real estate. Real estate can be a theme in a 6 year. Should I buy? Should I sell? Or should I renovate? That can be another theme. Personal space is very, very important. 6 is also a number of healing and nurturing. So, and it tends to bring, it brings requirements and puts demands upon you for others in your life, especially people who depend on you, maybe elderly people in your life and that sort of thing. But at the same time, it's a very, very benevolent energy, very nurturing energy. Okay, it's kind of like if you take that 6 to its logical conclusion, you got a small circle inside of a larger circle, the embryo within the seed, the protective element there. Now, the number 7, if you added it up and maybe you got a 34 or a 25 or 16 or something, you're in a 7 personal year. That is meant to be a year of rest and repose, very much like the 2. That is meant to be a year of introspection. You are not going to make quantum leaps in a 7 year. The 7 year tells you to just relax and allow. Definitely, if you have ideas for plans and projects, allow them to percolate. Do the research. 11 or the 7 really strongly favors doing research, learning, studiousness. It's a very studious number. It also favors connection to spirit. Your intuition is going to be running really high in a 7 year. And very different from the energy of the 3. I talked about the sociability of the 3. I always think the 2 most different numbers in our numerology continuum are the 3 and the 7. The 3 wants to get out and play and be with people. The 7 says, I need some quality time alone here. I just need to rest and relax and really consider things, not be jumping to conclusions or not be jumping into action, but considering and doing the research and doing some really deep thinking around things. If you're in an 8-year, well, golly, this is your year. Work, maybe promotions, financial increase is a possibility, strong possibility, as long as you believe yourself to be worthy. Believe that you are worthy and trust in the universe to deliver and be grateful for what you receive. And that 8 can shower you with financial abundance. It's a big picture year. So if you're running a business or if you're in politics or just whatever career you've chosen to be in, it's a year when you can really accomplish some major things in that year, okay? And quite often stepping into leadership as well, okay? Oh, goodness, excuse me a moment. If you are in a 9 personal year, if you added everything up and you got like a 27 or whatever, if you're in a 9 year, again, we've got the healing elements as in the number 6. We've got the elements of compassion. The other thing about the 9 year is that is a year of completion and release. And I once tried to type the word release into my iPhone, and it autocorrected for me, and it autocorrected to real ease. And I thought, I love that. Thank you, autocorrect. The 9 is about releasing, bringing things to completion, releasing material things, maybe your books on your shelf, dishes in your cupboard, clothes in your closet, that kind of thing. Releasing people, relationships that perhaps no longer serve you, or perhaps releasing a career situation that's no longer in your highest good. And it can be a tough year because it's an emotionally charged year. The 9 is an emotionally charged year. And you can also feel kind of tired, like there's little pieces of you all over the place because you're trying to be all things to all people and trying to meet with all kinds of different situations as they arise. It's kind of like we have that wheel of life where we have, our personal growth, we have our relationship, we have our career, we have our spirituality, our home, finance, so on and so forth. And it seems like in a 9 year, they all seem to converge, and every little piece of every little area of that, our wheel of life seems to need some kind of input from us. However, we come to the end of the 9 year and we go back to a 1 year, but it's not like we slide back to where we began. It's more like a circular path around the mountain. You keep coming back to the same side of the mountain, and you're always going to be higher up. So I talked about the 11. So some people, instead of a 20, are going to find themselves in a master number year, an 11. And that's when the universe says, what are you doing here? You get over there where you belong. It kind of, there's nothing gentle or subtle about the 11 energy. And you may find in that 11 year that, you were making changes. In fact, the word change, it actually adds up to 11. And not only are you making changes, but sometimes you surprise yourself as much, if not more, than other people around you. But like, oh my gosh, I never thought I'd, go surfing in California, but here I am. Or I never thought I'd move to Salt Spring Island, but here I am living the life kind of thing. Quantum leaps can sometimes occur in an 11 year. It's also a year of patience practice moments where you have to be tolerant of other people, and you have to cut yourself some slack because you may be setting your standards, setting your bar very, very high for yourself. And you may be very critical of yourself, harder on yourself than anybody else. So that's important to remember in the 11 as well. Psychic energy, intuition running high in an 11 year, and high profile. Good year if you've got programs, plans, projects, services that you want to promote. Great year to get it out there. Sometimes people, instead of a 4, it adds up to 22. And again, we've got the master number, and that's international. That will often see them connecting with people around the globe, perhaps travel. Hopefully we all get back to traveling, perhaps travel, and definitely big picture thinking, a lot of work to do. Okay.
So Vicky, you said I'm in the 5-year this year, so next year will automatically be a 6-year?
Yes, it will. Yeah. And if you're in an 11 year, you're going to go into a 3 the next year. Because remember, 11 is the higher frequency of 2. If you're in a 22 year, you're going to go into a 5 the next year, and so on.
Okay, because I was wondering how that worked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for those of us who our birthdays are more stay within the lower range, as opposed to somebody say who is the 15th of December, so that would always, with those higher numbers, end up having the addition of higher numbers.
Well, I added up like the what was I going to say? Added up like what I call a string method, where each digit has a plus sign between it. So a 15, if you add a 15, it's going to be a 6. If you add a 24, it's going to be a 6.
Okay.
Okay. So say your birthday's on, and in your case, November 11th. Yeah. Okay. So the next number up from that might be the number 20, which is a lower frequency, or say the number 29. November 29th would give you the same personal year number.
Oh, okay.
As November 11th. It's just the way arithmetic
works.
It's the way arithmetic works.
So okay. 29 would be 11, which is 1 plus 1. Okay, which is the 2. I see.
Got it? Okay.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. So
it is. So then, Vicky, if people were wanting to find out what their numbers are, to find out what their destiny number and their soul urge number is, and what their personal year is, and what you are able to tell them, how can they get in touch with you?
Okay, unfortunately, my website just kind of disappeared, did a disappearing act. The company that was running it for us and supporting it went out of business and didn't tell us. I haven't replaced it yet, but I do definitely have a presence on Facebook. My Facebook page is called Know Your Numbers.
Okay.
And certainly they can message me through that, or they can message me through my email, which is numerology@shaw.ca. Or vicky.m@shaw.ca. Both of those work. Okay. And if they're interested in knowing more about their personal year and they maybe don't have time or whatever to come for a reading, make today count. Okay. I have copies of this that I send out to them. It's not on Amazon.
Yep. Okay. So if they would like a copy of your book, then they would get in touch with you and you would send it out to them. Perfect. Well, thank you very much, Vicky. This was a lot of information to process right now, but very fascinating. It's
okay. I guess maybe you can see why I find it so fascinating. It's been amazing.
It opens up total new worlds. In especially knowing that we come into this world having picked our name, having picked our birth date,
and our
parents. Yes, that one I did know. It was more the name and the date of birth that I find is something new to think about, and how each of these numbers can have knowing what's ahead on our personal years. Then we can start preparing ourselves for it. If we know either that it's an action year or a year of contemplation, that we know that ahead of time, and we can slip into that energy.
Yeah, I'll use the personal days that way too, and scheduling, planning things as well. But yeah, and you know what? It's not fortune telling. it's forecasting. It's understanding the energy, understanding what the energy supports for you.
I know when you were talking about the years prior to like the personal year 1, 2, 3, and 4, I was going back in my head to, okay, that was 2015. What was I doing in that year? Okay, I can see the new like it was very interesting to yes, to hear what each of those years were supposed to bring me, and seeing that yes, they for much of it, like my first year, I moved from Strathmore to Calgary.
Wow.
And things like, yeah, it was like new beginnings and what that has brought about, year of contemplation and quietness, all of what each of those years, the energy from those years was and being able to look back in hindsight and go, actually that was what happened is also very.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. And there are other. I spoke about the life path number and the personal year number. There are several other numbers that we can calculate from your birth date as well that are very enlightening. Your cycles, your pinnacles, your ultimate goal. It's just amazing what we can calculate.
Well, I guess, Becky, I'm going to have to set up a session with you just to go through all of this. Sounds like exciting times. So thank you, Becky. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today.
And thank you for all your patience with the technology glitches there. I do apologize.
It's fine. This is just the age that we live in, and it's learning to, when those glitches occur, to find other ways of getting around it and not letting us stop us in our tracks, but instead going, okay, maybe I need to try this or try that. And that's what the last month for me with the internet and with going on StreamYard has been. It's been every week has been one issue after another, and it's teaching me to stay fluid. So
absolutely,
this week was no exception.
Okay, good.
So thank you, and thank you to everybody who has watched. And again, my name is Becky Nakamura. I am the owner-operator of wavesofki Energy Work. And if you are interested in releasing that which no longer serves you, relaxing your energy and renewing your spirit, please get in touch with me at wavesofki .com or through my email, wavesofki@gmail.com. And I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much.